Today's Ebola scare takes place on the high seas for a change. A Carnival cruise ship was turned away from Cozumel, Mexico after identifying a potential Ebola risk on board. The cruise ship is carrying a Texas healthcare worker who handled the lab samples of Thomas Duncan, the first person to be diagnosed with Ebola in the U.S. The worker has isolated herself on board the ship, and the vessel is returning to Galveston, Texas, after being denied entry by Mexican authorities. Fortunately, according to the U.S. State Department, the isolated traveler has shown no symptoms in the 19 days since she handled the samples. Ebola has an incubation period of 21 days. A KMGH reporter on board the ship says the passengers have kept relatively calm.
I wouldn't say there's any panic going on the boat, but then at the same time, what are you going to do? Jump off the boat? There's nothing you can do. So I think everyone's just kind of talking about it and, waiting to get home now.
But even if, as is likely the case, the scare does turn out to be a false alarm, it is raising some questions about the Ebola response. Well, just one question, really.
Some are already saying, well, why was she on this ship to begin with?
People are raising questions about missteps, why she was even permitted to travel.
So a lot of people are asking, why was she allowed to travel in the first place on that ship?
At the time the worker left Texas, the CDC guidelines only required people who came into contact with Duncan to self-monitor their condition. They were free to travel if they didn't report any Ebola symptoms. And that's something Texas Governor Rick Perry isn't happy about.
It defies common sense from my perspective that someone who has been in close proximity or have treated these patients, that they would travel out of state, that they would go on a cruise.
Governor Perry and the state's health agency imposed new voluntary travel restrictions Friday, asking anyone who helped treat Thomas Duncan to avoid public places and transportation until the 21-day period is up. The order isn't mandatory, but anyone who violates it could face quarantine measures. Perry's also joined the growing chorus of lawmakers asking President Obama to enact travel bans on countries with severe Ebola outbreaks, an idea both the CDC and the administration have resisted as counterproductive and difficult to enforce. 2 healthcare workers who came in contact with Duncan are being treated for Ebola. One of the affected workers boarded 2 flights before being diagnosed. The CDC is currently hunting down and monitoring the passengers of both flights. For Newsy, I'm Madison Burke.